been run by Cambridge Past, Present and Future for about the last 18 months. All blue plaques start with a nomination, and in 2018 we were very pleased to receive a nomination from Homerton College, who were nominating Leah Manning. Once a plaque is nominated, it then falls to a blue plaque committee, many of whom are here today, to consider whether the nomination should be accepted. In this case, the committee agreed that Leah Manning was very deserving of a blue plaque, but there was some debate about where the plaque should go. So the college had suggested that the plaque might go on the gates outside the college, and the committee felt that it might be more fitting if the plaque went on the school where Leah had taught, which is now part of Anglia-Ruskin University. So we had some discussions with the Anglia-Ruskin University, and they were very pleased to say they would be happy for the plaque to be located there. And we're very pleased to say that Homerton has still continued to advocate for the plaque, even though it's not going on their gates, and that they've very kindly sponsored the plaque as well. So, as well as the nomination, we also have to find the funds to create the plaque. Bringing these plaques to fruition is actually a lot more work than you might imagine. And so I'd especially like to thank Penny Heath and Antony Carpen from the Blue Plaques Committee for their work in helping to bring this one forward, as well as Professor Mary Dryling from Anglia-Ruskin, and for Dr. Peter Cunningham and his colleagues here at Homerton as well. So this will be the 34th blue plaque that will be put up, and it's in the illustrious company of the likes of Oliver Cromwell, Jack Hobbs, the discovery of DNA, and Alan Turing. A mixed bag. All the plaques have a biography, and the biography of each is available on the Blue Plaques website. So we will be adding a plaque for Leah Manning once the plaque has been put up. So do visit the website to find out that more people have got blue plaques in Cambridge. Thank you. So Peter, you're going to say, tell us a little bit about the wonderful Leah Manning.
I will. And I'd just like to also just to make a link for some people here who may have been to the Homerton Changemakers programme, which is something that we run now in order to encourage present-day students to think not just of their academic studies, but actually going out and making a difference in one way or another in the world. And we thought Leah was a wonderful role model to follow that. But I'm just going to really give the bare bones because Stan is here, who was mentored as a young politician, having moved from the East End, I think, to Harlow, Stan, which was then a new town. Leah Manning was the MP, and he went on, having been mentored by Leah perhaps partly, to distinguished political career as a Member of Parliament and a Member of the European Parliament. So I'll just simply say Leah was a Homerton student. At the end of her course, our then Principal Mary Allen invited her, or actually I think probably put some pressure on her, to go and teach at New Street Ragged School, which is a very poor area of Cambridge in Barnwell. And actually we have Patrick Morgan here as well, who's a historian of Barnwell, written a very good book about the children who lived in New Street and their families and so on, which we can talk about casually afterward. But anyway, she went to Ragged School. She gave terrific service to Cambridge women and children, their welfare, over 22 years. She became a president, one of the earliest female presidents of the National Union of Teachers, following which she was elected to Parliament, and then finally, very distinguished, she brought evacuee children from the Spanish Civil War. 4,000, a boatload of 4,000 children, many of whom came to Cambridge, and I was hoping that we had Carmen Kilner with us. We do, Carmen. So this is somebody else that you can talk to as well after Stan has introduced and unveiled the plaque, I'm sure, about the experiences of that particular enterprise by Leah. this is really over to you, Stan, now, who will unveil the plaque so that we have something to look at while you tell us your memories.
Leah Manning, who, as we've heard, trained as a teacher at this college in the early years of the century, became one of the outstanding women of her time, which was recognised when she had the honour of being again conferred on her at the age of 82. Leah, as we've heard, initially became a teacher at New Street School, the Rugged School, attended by many poverty-stricken children, and she campaigned for school meals and milk. She was very active in the NUT, the National Union of Teachers, and she became the Secretary of Cambridge Teachers, an NEC member of the union, and then the fourth ever woman to become the president in 1930. She had by now become a national figure in labour circles as well as trade union circles. And in fact, it was decided to offer her a parliamentary seat at Bristol East. But unfortunately for her, just before this occurred, the Solicitor General had to retire, and the Labour Party decided that the Bristol East seat should go to Sir Stafford Cripps instead of Leah Manning. I might say she never forgave him for it. And she got the next by-election from the Labour Party at Islington East in 1931, but she lost her seat after 7 months in the catastrophic general election of 1931 as far as the Labour Party was concerned, when it lost over 200 seats. Bristol East, however, stayed Labour, and had she got Bristol East, almost certainly she would have been a cabinet minister and would have an even more outstanding career than actually occurred. She spent the 1930s as an assistant education officer to the NUT and in campaigning against fascism and racism. She, as it's already been said, she played a leading part in evacuating Basque children from Spain, where they were in danger of being bombed, and setting them up at Wansford in Boys and other centres. And she was, as I've been told today, a very, very loving person who took great interest in them and tried to get every benefit for these children while they were here. She also campaigned very strongly against any form of racism, and she came to the conclusion that she had to change from being a pacifist to somebody who supported armed action to bring down fascism. As a result, when the next general election came, which was not, there wasn't an election of 35, but there was not another election till 45, she was then 59 years of age, and she didn't feel that she was in a position to do what she would have been able to do as a younger woman. And she went into Transport House, the headquarters of the Labour Party, and said she'd be prepared to fight a difficult seat. When they said Epping, she said, "Not on your life, I'm not fighting Churchill." And anyway, the Epping split seat was actually tremendously big, and it was split. Churchill took Wanstead and Woodford, Chigwell, and Leah Manning fought Epping, which was Chingford, Epping, Waltham Abbey, Harlow, and the villages around, which was expected to be to stay conservative. To everybody's surprise, Leah actually won. I was in a field at the time when the news came through, picking peas, which I did in spare time to earn a few shillings. And all day long, when the lorry came down, the people said, "Have you heard?" And then, at about 3 or 4 in the afternoon, we looked up and we saw there was a man coming down as fast as his bike would carry him into the field, and he threw his bike on one side and he said, "They're in! They're in!" And all these women, largely women, cheered their heads off. Chris Morris, one of the farm workers, who was a bell ringer, he rang the bells and everything to celebrate Leah's achievement. She then devoted herself to for the next 5 years to the work of her constituents, and took a leading part on educational and other matters in the House of Commons. Unfortunately, she lost her seat in 1950, and she returned to teaching, but she fought 2 more elections unsuccessfully and then gave up. But she then continued throughout her remaining years to campaign for the things she believed in. And one of the things was medical research and birth control. I mean, I might tell you this, which is personal. My wife was expecting her 2nd child, and for the first time she met Leah Manning. And Leah Manning immediately said, "Oh my dear," she said, "you'd better come to our birth control." Which my wife took rather with difficulty. But anyway, she did that, and she eventually, unfortunately, after living in a little cottage at Hatfield, Broadoak for years, she got so infirm she had to go into the NUT home and so on, and there in fact she died. She gave her body for medical research, so there was no funeral. But I arranged a memorial meeting at Hatfield Church in her memory. She was an admirable person, a fighter who devoted her life to the betterment of conditions for all humanity. And she didn't stop with her own constituents. She was prepared to take up cudgels on behalf of any deprived community in any part of the world. She, in fact, was somebody who was a woman of outstanding ability and outstanding note, who might even have achieved more if she'd been elected to Parliament, as I said, in Bristol East. But nonetheless, she remains a great figure, somebody who is an inspiration to those that come afterwards, and I have therefore great pleasure in unveiling this plaque to commemorate her.